G'day mates, Mike here. Many musical acts throughout history have been defaced by the actions of deranged, delusional psychopaths. The reputation of Marilyn Manson was almost destroyed after elements of the mainstream media unjustly blamed him for the Columbine High School massacre. Mac DeMarco's 2014 hit single Salad Days was ruined in 2018 when Nicholas Cruz jammed to it during his rampage at Stoneman Douglas. Elliot Rodger danced with utmost cringe while listening to Whitney Houston's banger, How Will I Know? Actually, song wasn't ruined. Elliot was too pathetic and irrelevant. This is your idol, incels. Are you f***ing serious?
They're kissing right now. It's torture for me to watch, but I have to do this.
But as it turns out, elves are no different. When cringe-watching Amber's Ghoul Gang,
our purpose is to manipulate the human race and terminate this putrid planet.
Did you see that? Did you? The voice of youth!
you may recognise repeated usage of certain punk pop songs. This music was created by a local boy band from Nanticoke, Pennsylvania called Send Request. Like everything else in Randy's works, there's a personal story behind this choice. Like everything else, he managed to mould this band into a super important life prophecy. He really is Chris Chan with a shotgun, isn't he?
She's in this body with me, so I'm gonna let her speak now. This is Randy Stair, Andrew Blaze.
What a nut job. Funny story, I once had a run-in with Jehovah's Witnesses. Sadly for them, the conditions were perfect for spreading my favourite human repellent. Discord mod pheromones. I received them as a gift from Jess Kenzie. Enough beating around the bush. Who are Send Request? When did they emerge? Where are they today? And where did Randy get the name Andrew Blaze? Today, we answer these questions. Moreover, we will look at Elf Boy's insanely entitled, narcissistic interactions with them, and perhaps one of the funniest trolling efforts imposed upon the elf. Without further ado, this is Send Request. The magnificent tale of Send Request begins in 2012.
It started around 2013? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so how did you guys get together?
Around that time.
Fresh out of high school.
Sorry about that. The magnificent story of Send Request begins in 2013.
Send Request formed back in technically like 2011, 2012-ish, but no one really, like, we were still in high school then, so no one really knew about this at all.
I don't f***ing know. Whenever these began, okay? Is it my fault these drug-addled memories are too cheap to pay for a Wix site? Huh? Jesus f***ing anus. What is it with artists and their lack of organisational skills? Just kidding, I love you, Andrew. The most concrete date I can get for when they were established is 2012, so I'll go with that. Deep in the concrete jungle of Nanticoke, Pennsylvania, in a dingy, abandoned middle school, two schoolmates sat together, admiring the beautiful Soviet-era architecture. Andrew Blank Derek Holminski were good friends, but soon they would reach the ultimate crossroad. They needed a plan for their future. God, that sounds gay. Why am I like this? Andrew was involved with another band alongside his fellow straight male friend Jonathan Lebenkeys, dubbed Avoiding Vega. The band specialised in the exquisite art of blatantly ripping off other people's music, also known as cover songs. Deep down, Andrew knew he couldn't nurture a serious career as a cover artist, especially with such a laughable name as Avoiding Vega. Furthermore, he was sick of remixing other people's works. His desire was to fulfill his passion for songwriting and creativity. Initially, Derek planned on joining Avoiding Vega, but Andrew had other ideas. Andrew, I have something really important to ask you.
What's that?
I've been thinking. We've been friends for so long. I trust you. You trust me. But school won't last forever, dude. And I don't want to lose you. So I was wondering, would you be...
Of course.
What? I wasn't finished.
You don't need a finish. I know what you want to say. I can see it in your eyes, hear it in your voice. I know what you want, and I want it too. So, where are you taking me?
What do you mean? Do you? You thought I was asking you out on a date, didn't you?
Why else would you be so nervous?
For God's sake, Andrew, we've been over this 1,000 times. I'm not gay, dude. That whole gimmick was just a stupid April Fool's Day prank you idiotically thought was real. Plus, don't you have a girlfriend already, dude? How do you think she'd feel if she were here?
Bros before hoes.
Not like that. That's disgusting. Just forget it. Now, if you'd let me finish, I was wondering if you'd let me join your cover band. What's the name again? Avoiding Vegas?
Avoiding Vega. Yeah, nah. I'm done ripping off other people's music. I want to start writing my own shit, creating my own riffs. You get my jig, man? I'm done being a sheep, following in the footsteps of others. It's time for me to become a leader, a pioneer of a new age in music.
That's a lot of words for I want to start a new band. So, want to start a new band?
I thought you'd never ask.
I guess this means we have to choose a name, dude.
So how does Applebee's sound?
Don't be ridiculous. What is it with you and your band names? And I thought Avoiding Vega was a bad Are you Carl to the Superstar 100 Gamer son of a gun, Jack Silvani?
Yes.
And alas, a beautiful miracle was born. Andrew became the lead singer, songwriter, Derek filled the position of lead guitarist, and John Lebensky took on the role of drummer. But something was missing. A bassist. Luckily, another friend, Aaron Wood, was curious of the idea. So they hit him up and, hey presto, we have our quirky quartet. What's the point of dreaming if I don't get to live out my life?
Holy sh**.
But before releasing anything, they had to handle some formalities. A social media presence was required. So on March the 10th, 2013, the Send Request Facebook page was created. Soon after, they established a presence on Twitter, or X if you're an Elon Musk brown-noser. But the most important question was still to be answered. What genre? Andy and the gang came to an agreement. They wouldn't be giving away instrument... Oh, wait. That's the wrong part of the video. The band came to a consensus on pop-punk as their genre of choice. Andrew claims this was a choice out of passion and obsession, as Green Day was one of his favourite bands. However, it's plausible they could have been riding the Pennsylvanian punk revival bandwagon of the 2010s. Whatever the reason, punk pop was their genre of choice. In 2013, the gang graduated high school. Finally, they were free. Of course, Randy Stair didn't rear his ugly head as soon as the true Andrew graduated. That would demand Elf Boy socialise.
Like that's ever gonna happen.
In 2014, SendRequest were on the cusp of accomplishing a feat no band had ever achieved in the history of mankind. They broke the world record for fastest first album released after Foundation. No, seriously bro, it's in the Guinness Book of World Records, literally Vitch, trust me when I say. It's not like they were defaulting to standard musician protocol, slouching around all day, leeching off their parents. They experimented with programs such as GarageBand, creating an EP titled Sushi Kamikaze Fried Chicken Pierogies. This EP was never released to the public because the boys were so embarrassed with the quality, the thought of its mere existence keeps them up at night. As of 2018, only one hard copy remains, most likely lost in the depths of a local landfill. In 2011, Elf Boy walked the path every millennial takes to satisfy the egos of their narcissistic parents while justifying not moving out or getting a job. He went to college. Scratch that, he went to community college. Where I come from, they're called TAFE, and they consist of courses so easy, they're always open book and the teachers give you the answers.
And he virtually did one of the projects for me. He wrote the script for it all, and then it was for my radio class.
Most of Rando's college career is irrelevant for the context of this particular video. For this sensational story, 2014 would be the most decisive college year. Elf Boy's final semester was upon him. For the last subject, he was required to showcase skills learnt throughout his tenure. Spoiler alert, it isn't much.
I mean, yeah, I just didn't understand. Would you have any reasoning behind like the quality thing?
Well, I use Final Cut, so
okay.
I don't use Premiere, but I mean,
I have absolutely no idea. Yeah,
it depends on your export settings, really.
Okay.
He had two choices, an individual project or an internship. Since our lovely little elf was vastly intelligent and ambitious, he chose an internship. On the last day, he was summoned to the boss's office. In front of him was a piece of paper with a bunch of letters, numbers, and other meaningless mumbo-jumbo. Something about a stupid little job offer, 500,000 a year or something crass. Wait. Stupid little job offer? Stupid little job offer? Hell yeah! I'm feeling so premorphic right now, it hurts! With his exceptional work ethic and unnaturally friendly attitude. He passed this test with flying colours. Rando accepted the offer, working full-time as a lead animator for that studio with that looking mouse, founded by an old crony who sympathised with Nazis until it was uncool. His most renowned works include Thord, Elf-Proof Fence, Inside Me, and the... Let's just skip that one. So talented and accomplished was he, that he earned an unprecedented 69 Oscars and 420 stars on the Hollywood Hall of Fame. His GPA wasn't high enough.
Snap back to reality.
Yes, you heard me right. You need a GPA of at least 5 to do an internship. Randy's was a solid 1. Okay, that's a lie. I don't know what his GPA was, let alone if it was required for an internship. But he chose not to partake. The reason he gives is bizarre.
I did not want to do an internship because I knew very well that I wasn't going to go into that field.
I'm not going to make assumptions, even though my gut has provided me a relatively high accuracy. But why would it matter? Why would this be a decisive factor for your decision against an internship? My instincts tell me either he was too embarrassed to admit to potentially not having an adequate GPA for an internship, or he was too scared to take any real responsibilities in life that didn't involve stacking shelves at the local indoor supermarket. Whatever his reasoning was, he opted for the individual project. But difficult decisions don't end at the beginning, for that would be an oxymoron, or in Randy's case, a regular old moron. First, he could present a project about organising an event to benefit the local community. Boring! Only clout-chasing fakers help others. Let's just save up that hard-earned cash to acquire cancerous social media platforms instead, so you can rig presidential elections. Second, he can arrange a meeting with faculty staff and course coordinators to discuss his options. This would require him to think creatively and socialise with mature adults. Two actions the void in his skull was incapable of carrying out. So that leaves option number 3. Randy's lifestyle and mentality in a nutshell. Leeching off others. This entailed joining the college TV station and helping produce an interview show creatively named Interview. He contacted Mike, a member of the group, and asked if he was willing to take Randy under his wing. He accepted, and before he knew it, Randy was a crew member. Da 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 da! This term, the team interviewed local bands and recorded live performances in the studio. It was March 2014. A beautiful, warm evening in the LCC college campus. As Elfboy collaborated with the collective to set up the equipment. Once they were complete, the signal was given to begin proceedings. Elfboy awaited in anticipation. He couldn't wait to be finished with all this college bullshit and get a real job. Randy was unaware of his fate. In a few short moments, his world would change forever. The dark thoughts in his mind would finally be extinguished, with the power of positivity and motivational music. Slowly, an iconic quartet encroached upon the stage, and as they did, Randy's eyes lit up like never before in his young life. The band on the stage was addicted to the shindig.
Something inside me that really wants to see.
Dude, this band sucks ass! You'd like that, wouldn't you? So the first band wasn't a hit with the elf. Whatever. His motivation for attending his classes and fulfilling his obligations already tanked a while back, so it was 50-50 whether he'd attend the next session on Monday the 31st, wink wink. I know you hated the last band, Randy, my I can do it. Friend. We have a new one for you tonight though. Maybe you'll like them more. Maybe you won't be a complete this time. Whatever. And there they were, in their masculine, youthful glory. He had beautiful dark hair, side-swept with small bangs. His skin was fair and his eyes were dark. There was SendRequest in his almighty glory. Randy was immediately enamored. SendRequest was on the cusp of releasing their first EP, Beyond the Ordinary. This album incorporated 3 songs, Never Never, I Quit, and Comeback Song. They were also working on some other bangers such as My Last Confession and Anymore, but they weren't ready yet. Nevertheless, they played these musical masterpieces while the LCC TV network recorded. And guess who focused on Andrew Blank the entire session?
My camera was on Andrew Blank all the time.
Randy felt reinvigorated. He felt a golden ray of hope illuminating upon him. SendRequest gave him some much needed motivation, a reason to live. A reason to thrust with all his might into the final term of college light. He worked passionately on the project, focusing on the post-production elements, his expertise.
Depends on your export settings, really.
Nearly 3 weeks later, Send Request released Beyond the Ordinary. Statistically, they didn't reach many viewers, but it doesn't matter. Usually your beginning is the most difficult period of time. Nevertheless, they made good progress, establishing a small fan base and connecting with the local music scene. Meanwhile, Elf Boy worked tirelessly to finish editing the interview show. The final piece of this assessment puzzle focused on the song My Last Confession.
Ironic.
As we all know, Randy was an isolated individual. Because of this behavioural trait, he didn't meet the real Andrew in person for almost a year. Instead, choosing to perfect the art of drawing cartoons. This didn't stop Mr. McLean from using Send Request music. The first instance was in his obelisk of endless narcissism, the Pioneers production anthology. After this particular project, he never looked back. Every future video had at least one piece of the band's work in it. Their next important gathering occurred in March 2015, when Send Request reached out to Randy and his brother to shoot a music video for Over and Out. This video was filmed in the LCC auditorium, and look! You can see Jezza taking a shower in the background. Look! Can you see that? OMG, he's so hot! Overall, this video is, in my opinion, a below average production. There's no interesting subplot or shot variety. It's just a bunch of f***wits jumping around like they're trying to flash Music Biz Marty's livestream. Still, could be worse. After the video was produced, Derek asked Randy how he and Jeremy wanted to be credited. This is an important detail for later. Evidently, I'm not the only one who wasn't a big fan of the video, as for unknown reasons and at an unknown time, Send Request took the video down. One certainty, however, is they removed this video months prior to the massacre, so their motives weren't to erase any evidence of their collaboration with a mass murderer. If you want to watch it, it's in the digital set, but there's also a re-upload on YouTube. On July the 1st, 2015, Send Request released their album Make Your Move. In addition to the 3 songs from Out of the Ordinary, this album included Make Your Move, Over and Out, My Last Confession, Love Like Crazy, and Teenage Dirtbag. Before you inquire, yes, this is a cover of Wheatus's song. Randy would return to college in summer of 2015 to retrieve the interview footage. Unfortunately for him, the doors to the computer room were locked, so he had to find a staff member to unlock them. The member in question was a man which Randy had a particularly nasty disdain for. I'm not going to reveal why yet, but you need not be an Einstein-level genius to deduce it.
And he virtually did one of the projects for me.
Now that he had all the footage he shot of the band, a light bulb went off in his head.
Why don't I use this footage in a pilot episode of my Day Phantom ripoff? I can use it to promote the unlimited talent of them. My senpai would love it!
Randy tinkered with this idea for the first half of 2015, before abandoning it out of frustration. Regardless, he still uploaded an unfinished edition. Some things never change, do they? This video was dubbed Curtain Call, utilising footage from both collaborations. The story follows ETS recruits Celestra and Allegro as they observe Send Request practicing for a TV appearance.
Especially Andrew. He's a sweetie.
Alex takes the more orthodox approach to viewing a live performance, while Celestra causes mischief.
Oh my god! Shoot.
Why might Send Request dislike this particular project? Let's just say, Randy doesn't portray them in the ideal light.
I don't like you anymore, girl. Never
Quick note, I believe this recording session served as the beginning of Randy's distaste for how fake the music industry is.
Music is the biggest illusion on the planet. You know how many instruments are fake? Pop music, all that is fake. All the auto-tune in pop music. You notice live, music sounds like total and nowadays how everyone uses pre-recorded backing tracks and backing vocals and live, all pre-recorded. It's all fake. But Send Request, they're a local band. They're not that big at all, but they use a shitload of auto-tune on their vocals. And when I got the stem tracks, I was like, holy hell, he can't sing at all.
I'm not sure if musicians have some sort of etiquette in place that prohibits one from taking practice footage and making it public, but I know I wouldn't be happy about it. In hindsight, Andrew has so much more to hate Randy for now. Welcome to the squad. I wish I didn't have to discover such a kick-ass
Amber's
song
Ghost
this way.
Squad.
Intro to my
Do
favourite
it for the
series.
squad.
This should have been
It's
Emerson
crazy.
Autumn
Every
credits.
credit
Each
scene.
week
Make
they
it
go
out.
Shut the f*** up! On the 26th of October, Andrew was in a pickle. He had an assignment due and needed some footage. Urgently. Luckily, he knew just the right person. When your homework's due, and your friends suck too, who you gonna call? Ghost f***ers! Andrew texted Randy and asked him to meet at Randy's favourite sucking refuge, the local CVS parking lot. Randy obliged enthusiastically, bringing along an external hard drive containing 500 gigabytes of the footage for True Andrew to use, of course. What Andrew didn't realise was Randy had unleashed his inner James Bond, secretly recording these conversations.
Little did Andrew Blank know, I had both meetings recorded with my iPhone in my pocket, 100% from start to finish. There's even some laughter from it used in the AGS intro. Right before Stuck in My Own Misery. Now you know one of the many secrets about that piece. Ooh.
I'm sure the KGB would be thrilled to have you, Randy. The first meeting was a brief combing over of the formalities. This interaction lasted almost 3 minutes. Randy described Andrew's attitude as overly positive in a forced manner. He implies bad intent on Andrew's behalf, a habit of Randy's which ruined the few friendships that he had. This first meeting is relatively unimportant due to how brief it was. It's the second meeting which really shaped Randy's relationship with the band. 4 days later, at the same lot, Randy retrieved his drive from True Andrew. This time, Andrew was more open to talk with Randy, sharing details on Send Request's future and ideas for creative projects.
As I was saying, Andrew gave me some details about Send Request's future, saying they were going back to Ohio in a few weeks to record again. He told me he rewrote Any More in its entirety, so it was an actual full-length song now. The only thing left unchanged from the old version was the opening guitar riff. I couldn't wait to hear how different the song was gonna sound. To put it lightly, the old original version was really but that riff was awesome, so I'm really glad it stayed.
Upon listening to this recording, I can still sense the unease and awkwardness in Andrew's voice. He gives off regular nervous laughs, but still opens up to Randy regardless. I think it's just Andrew's nature rather than a genuine dislike of Elf Boy, though he could have been thinking of running when he saw his face. After 5 minutes of conversing, Randy brings up a topic which would end up being the catalyst for the decline of their relationship.
Well, if you ever need videos done, I'm always around. Don't be afraid to hit me up. I don't care if it's like 6 in the morning or 6 at night, you can call me up.
But then came the talk that would be the downfall of our relationship, the music video discussion. I thought that I was an automatic lock for the Any More music video, but I was wrong. Me and Jeremy had even gotten sharp new lenses, which I told Andrew the lenses would make over and out look like a joke. He seemed somewhat intrigued and said, "We want this video to be perfect," which, being the perfectionist that I am, led me to think, I'm your guy. He hinted that he'd keep me in mind, but I thought for sure I'd be able to help in some form.
When I first read this entry, I assumed truth in Randy's words. However, the audio recording paints a different picture. I'll have a link to it in the description. First of all, Randy brings up the idea of shooting videos for the band, not Andrew. He never mentioned anything specific, just shooting any videos. Second, Randy implies the prime topic of said conversation was the music video, but Andrew never actually explicitly says that they were going to do a music video for any more. He merely says that if he has any ideas, he'll hit Randy up. He even goes out of his way to express how unsure he was of which kind of project they'd potentially work on.
I don't even know what yet, in all honesty. Like, I want to do more video stuff. I just don't know what with
I'll do it for free.
I'm gonna try to come up with a concept for something soon. Cause I want to do another video with you soon.
Yeah.
I don't know what it could be. Let's do something cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what it could be.
Guns explosion.
While Andrew does become more confident on possibly shooting a video for the song, he never actually confirms it. He only says they're considering it.
We are thinking about doing like a whole video thing again. If so, we want everything about this song to be perfect, especially even the video. So like I'm gonna hit you up on that.
I will cut Elfboy some slack here. It can be easily assumed that they were most likely going to make a music video due to how invested Send Request was in the song, but unless you have a signature on paper, you can't be certain anything will happen in this world, especially professionally. After 25 minutes, the conversation would end. This was the last time Randy ever spoke to Andrew Blank in person. Randy went back to living his life. If you can really call sitting in your room all day and stocking shelves at night a life. As winter comes and goes, Randy's sanity slowly but surely begins to decline. Elfboy would commence his iconic purge, removing all bar a couple of fans from his life. He began falling down the EGS rabbit hole. To him, dying young was guaranteed to happen. But one thing that didn't happen was Andrew Blank. As the sands of time shifted, the silence from Andrew Blank became deafening. Eventually, Rando had enough and decided to take unprecedented action. For once in his life, he would actually initiate a conversation. He texted Andrew, asking him what they were up to. Andrew replied along the lines of, "Nothing dude, just hanging out." On March the 6th, 2016, Aaron Wood would post this, stating their music video was shot. In the end, Send Request made the decision to use a group who actually knew what they were doing, Just Fly Casual Productions. In this video, I realised that Aaron Wood was the one who actually looks like Ben Keys, not John Lubensky. Elfboy was emasculated, humiliated. From this moment on, Randy noticed how little the band cared for him and the work he put out for them. When he texted True Andrew, he'd receive responses not in a matter of minutes or hours, but days, weeks even, sometimes never at all. This brings me to an important life lesson. Believe it or not, I've had experiences like this with people in my field. Heck, I've even abstained from responding to messages myself. So many damn people. One might make the assumption that people are reluctant to respond to you because they think you're beneath them or they dislike you. Problematically, they're incapable of empathy and the understanding that other people have different perspectives on life. There could be a wide variety of reasons. Whatever it could be, 99% of the time, it's not because of you. This is why I tell people never to assume the worst, because most of the time, the worst case scenario doesn't come to fruition. Believe it or not, most people aren't awful. Misguided, yes. But genuinely evil, no. Andrew could have had a wide variety of reasons for his slow responses. He could have been busy songwriting or working on other creative projects. He could have been toiling away at his job at Target or hanging out with friends. Or, the most likely reason, he has a life. The question I have is why? Why would you even need a reason not to talk to somebody? People can say whatever they want, whenever they want. If you don't like it when people have different preferences to yours, the best option is to cut them off and forget about them. Nevertheless, Randy interpreted Andrew's DM etiquette alongside the choice of production company as him falling out of favour with send request.
As 2016 passed, I began to grow more and more enraged with him. Whether it be ignoring my texts or giving short, puny replies to lengthy messages.
I know I sound like a jerk when I joke and harp on about Randy's sexuality, but it's social interactions like these that make me question it. Giving multiple, lengthy messages and being butthurt when the response you receive isn't long enough, that's some real incel nice guy level shit. Don't get me wrong, it's okay to send long messages. Just don't expect people to reciprocate, especially when they've got a long-term partner.
I got vibes that he didn't give a shit about the endless hours I spent animating Comeback Song, or my animation in general. I mentioned to him about possibly spending 8 months on a video with any more being the focus of the piece. Nothing. What an ungrateful
How are you supposed to read vibes of somebody you last saw in person over a year prior? Furthermore, why should he care? He never asked you to animate all that shit. Perhaps Andrew had another reason.
In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
Hey Andrew, I was just wondering why you haven't been responding to my texts. Is everything alright? Andrew!
Hi. Yeah, it's okay.
How is any more going? Have you finally seen the light after working with that dog production company? Are you willing to scrap the god-awful shaky camera footage not in bucks of a project in favor of my top-notch, high-quality perfectionist work of art?
Sure, I guess. But we lost the instrumentals.
What? How am I supposed to make music videos without instrumentals? How am I supposed to sync everything together and make sure it harmonizes, all the while adding an extra storyline and all that other shit? I was gonna do EGS and everything!
Well, help us find it, and you can do our music video. Capiche? We'll even give you credit.
Hey, cut that shit off. We've used enough copyrighted material as it is. No, switch it off. Switch it off now, before Mr. Music Nazi Oh, great. Now look what you've done. No, stop, no, get away from it. No. Alright, boys and Sammy, we have a problem. It's summer of 2016. Angry little elf boy needs some instrumentals from his crush's latest single, so he can animate his cringy little Columbine jerk-off fantasy. Sorry. That must have been a Freudian script. Oh yeah, so we could help JSOS and the crew with a music video for their masterpiece hit song, Anymore. The only problem is, nobody knows where the instrumentals are. They appear to have been stolen. Or they've just clumsily lost it. Bands have a tendency to do that. Who shall we question? I know. Let's start with the band members.
Alright. Now I've done that, I'm just gonna wait.
A few moments later.
So, when did you last see the instrumental alive?
What?
Just tell me where the damn instrumental is for f***'s sake.
I don't know, man. I'll talk to Andrew for you.
Okay. Hey John, you know where—
Soz, little bro. I'm too busy drinking twisted tea. Only badasses drink twisted tea. You wouldn't know real strength, little—
Whatever. Drunk piece of shit. Hey Aaron, old buddy, old pal. How you been doing?
What do you want?
So, I was wondering, do you know where the instrumentals for Any More have gone?
I might. But first, I'm gonna ask you a question myself.
Okay. What's your question?
Why the f*** would you ask me that question, you idiot? Clearly we've asked you to help us find the instrumental. Why would we know where it is? Honestly, man, you need to cut the Benadryl. Ask Andrew.
But I did. He left me on red. Why do all of that? All I wanted was instrumental.
You're talking about Andrew Blank?
Well, yeah. Who else did you think I mean?
Andrew Wade, our producer down in Florida. You know, the guy Andrew told you was gonna mix and master the song. I'm sure he has a copy of it. Now, if you don't mind, I gotta get back to peeling my banana. Oh yeah, here's his email too. Don't lose it.
3 weeks later.
Okay. Now we just wait. Knowing my rotten luck, he'll probably take a month or two to get back to me. He's too busy managing a day to remember after all.
Tomorrow.
Okay, that was a miserable night at work. What's new, greedy little f***s at Weiss? I wonder if any animators have responded to my request for assistance. Let's check my email. Ooh, that was quick. Hopefully we can find some answers. Hi, Randy. Thank you for your inquiry on the backing track for Send Request song Any More. I'd like to clarify that I sent an email containing all versions of and tracks of the song to the band back in January. I will contact them again, asking them if they require another copy, but until then, there's nothing I can do for you. All the best, Andrew. Hey, boy, I know you have those instrumentals you've been looking for.
What?
Well, hand them over. Now!
Let me think. No.
But what about the music video?
Oh, yeah. About that. Go and check out our YouTube channel, since you clearly don't give a shit about anyone else but yourself, you narcissistic little elf.
Okay, I may have distorted the real story here for entertainment purposes. It's not like I'm making subtle jokes or anything to manipulate the audience into thinking I'm making a point that I'm not actually making or anything. The truth is, Randy sent a request to Andrew for the instrumental of Any More in September 2016. 3 months after Send Request released the track and the music video on June the 3rd and 5th respectively. He wanted the track so he could use it in his special project. This also implies Randy had a disdain for the band prior to the drama, because he states he wanted to use their song in his video so he could ruin them.
Little does he know, I'm going to forever ruin Any More for Send Request by using it as the centerpiece of a high school massacre.
What an asshole.
This wasn't the first time he'd requested an instrumental from Andrew either. A year prior, he'd requested the instrumentals for Comeback Song on My Last Confession. Andrew used the same tactics as in 2016, but this time Randy received the desired commodities. It only costs like $200. His unrequited crush with Andrew wasn't the only factor in Randy's frustration. He also claims they didn't credit him properly for the over and out music video, despite Derek asking him how he wanted it. This claim is difficult to prove or disprove, as the video in question has been removed. It's also important to know that Randy knew of this, so he could have been deliberately lying. Around October the 9th or 10th, Randy would have the infamous email exchange with Andrew Wade where he discovered the truth. As it turns out, the instrumentals for Any More had been shipped out to the band at the beginning of the year.
I took this as one of two ways. One, they didn't realize the instrumental was attached in the original email and never downloaded it. Or two, he
lied to me for 2 months. A few days later, he decided to contact Andrew and Derek through Facebook to ask if they had the email. Derek said no, but would look into it. Then, on Sunday the 16th of October, Randy would receive the worst news possible. It was a message from Andrew Blank.
Me and the guys have agreed not to give out stem and backing tracks. Hopefully you can respect and understand this decision.
Randy would, in fact, not respect and understand this decision.
Fucking die, dude.
You're not safe. I'm gonna haunt your every last breath. Feel the damage that's being done to you.
I'll give this to Elf Boy. Andrew did in fact lie to him about having the instrumental, and this lie was prolonged, but his reasoning might not have been as malicious as Randy entails. Andrew has the personality trait INFJ, which is the title 99% of people take pride in after receiving it when taking that stupid personality test online during their communications class in university. He's shy and lonely, struggling with communication towards others. Over the years, he too had become isolated, living with depression and self-loathing. But he has a girlfriend, so that doesn't matter. Just plunge that sausage into her bright pink hole. That'll solve everything. My point is, as someone who's struggled with similar feelings myself, I know how difficult it can be to message people online, especially when you have to inform them of something they don't like. Seeing elements of Randy's crazier side in his Pioneers Productions videos, perhaps Andrew felt he might elicit a similar response from Elf Boy, so he decided not to respond. The old ghosting tactic. Yes, Andrew may have lied to Randy, but Randy has lied about much worse things in his life.
If only you people knew. If only you knew.
In a moment of frustration, Randy woke up. He realised he needed to cool down, reflect on what just happened, his entire history with Andrew and his boy band. He escaped his bedroom and headed towards his thinking hole, also known as Mackenzie West's vagina, the hot tub. After hours of deep thought, Randy formulated a plan. He decided to write Andrew a 3-page long letter expressing his frustration with Andrew and his feelings towards him. Jesus Christ, Elf Boy, are you sure you're not gay? Of all the things he could have included in the digital set, this message was not one of them. F*** you too, Randy. What have you got to hide? Who knows what he said. The message flustered Andrew because for almost a week, the account Randy sent the message to on Twitter was inactive. After 6 days, Andrew responded to Randy's message. Yet again, the specifics of this message are unknown, for many presumed reasons. However, we can go by the words of an honest, honourable, caring, non-mass murdering elf here. He claims Andrew was shocked by the message. He was shocked that Randy could have felt this way about his decision or the way Andrew treated him. He told Randy he had nothing against him, opening up about his feelings of isolation, loneliness, and depression. All the reasons I listed for him not responding well. It's as if I can actually read or something. Randy, being the sensitive, kind-hearted soul he was, responded in the appropriate manner.
Andrew Blank, I hate his guts most of the time anyway. I still think he's a asshole half the time. Of all people, I never thought he'd be like an isolated individual and struggling with self-worth and all that, and he told me all this stuff. It's like, I find it hard to believe. In dark places before, it's like, I find it hard to believe. I don't believe it. I just feel like he plays people. If he's telling the truth, then yeah, okay.
He sent another page-long letter with an offer of $50 to $100 for the instrumental. He also reassured Andrew nothing bad was going to happen, especially not him releasing it to the public in its full, raw form. Only an asshole would do something like that. After Andrew ignored the offer, Randy decided to finally cut ties with him for good. He'd already removed them from all social medias when he found out he'd been lied to, but this time it was finally over, for good. The mind games, the bombardment of endless texts, the bullshit demands, was all over. Finally, Andrew Blank could rest easy. Predictably, in elf fashion, he didn't understand the saying no means no. Until February of 2017, Randy kept pestering Andrew for the instrumental. Stubbornly, Andrew refused, provoking Randy to write this fiery sermon in his journal.
Andrew Blank, you can rot in the fiery depths of hell, you little worthless son of a Why the can't you give me the backing track to any more, huh? What the up your ass, huh? I kiss your feet with promoting your music and you just stiff me. I write a 1.5-page long message asking how you really feel about me as a person and how your music changed my life, and yet you don't acknowledge or give me that track which ignited the message in the first place? You're trash, dude. Really, what the am I gonna do? Say, hey internet, look what I got. It's a music track, not the holy grail.
There he is. Where? There. What, behind the...
Andrew.
Is that...
Andrew.
You silly sod. What? You got us all worked up. Well, that's no ordinary...
Andrew.
That's the most foul, cruel and bad-tempered...
Andrew.
...you ever set eyes on. Go on, boys, chop his head off. Right, silly little bleeder. 1,
Andrew.
2, coming right up. Look! Jesus Christ!
Last time I checked, using their music for your uncreative, matriarchal Nickelodeon rip-off OC series, which barely got any viewership in the thousands, around the same I get, isn't exactly promotion. Furthermore, most people don't appreciate their artwork being used to promote inappropriate or conflicting ideas. Pepe the Frog is the perfect example of this, with the creator endorsing an entire film to help end the memes used by fat, neck-bearded, basement-dwelling MAGA freaks. Also, just because you send someone a letter explaining your feelings and whatnot, doesn't mean they are obliged to conform to your demands. Kinda manipulative of you trying to pull that shit, isn't it?
You even privatized.
Do you know what that word means, elf boy? You a communist after all?
Removed over and out music video on the SR channel. The only one that had me credited. What the f***? Derek is a rag. How do you want credit? I tell him and they don't credit me or Jeremy anywhere for making your first ever music video.
This is yet another example of elf contradiction. You say they credited you for the video, then you contradict yourself in the very next sentence. Which one is it? Why would you even care about credit if they were the ones benefiting from the promotion you undertook for them using your videos? Usually people care about getting credit if the person using their work is the only one benefiting from using it.
I had no control over uploading it, Andrew Blank. Bullshit, you didn't. You own and operate the SR channel, do you not?
Hey elf boy, yeah, you. Quit. Have you ever heard about this tiny little idea that most people in the Western world are willing to defend to their last breath? It's called democracy. It's kind of a big element of the government of your home country. Well, it used to be anyway. Did you think that it's possible Andrew meant he had no control because the other band members vetoed him? Believe it or not, some people actually have the integrity not to overturn the decisions of the majority. What if Andrew was one of these people?
I'm going to shoot the living out of your body. I'll blow your innocent little Korean face off.
Not gay, by the way.
And you know what? I'm gonna scare the living hell out of you with the Any More ETS music video. I'll have Rachel kill you good and slow. I'll never speak to you in person again, unless it's the day I die. You and your fake studio band.
Jeez. Randy really could have used a fidget spinner. On March the 13th, Randy would plunge one final dagger into the heart of his friendship with SendRequest. He did what he claimed Andrew shouldn't be afraid of. He uploaded, in their full entirety, the instrumentals for 3 of SendRequest's songs onto a newly created channel, just for that purpose.
I'm releasing the multi-tracks that I got from Johnny Frank today, and I hope Andrew Blank gets mad.
Randy claimed Andrew'd most likely react in a hostile manner towards such gesture, but in reality, he most likely didn't notice. Either that, or he didn't care because the videos are still up today. You'd think if he was enraged about this situation, he'd file a copyright removal request and get the videos taken down. But he didn't. Keep in mind, this was around the time when YouTube was more strict about copyright, especially with music, adpocalypse and all. Furthermore, Randy doesn't mention any sort of copyright dispute with SendRequest or Andrew.
Here's the thing, Andrew. This all could have been avoided had you not lied to me. You dug yourself into an even bigger hole because of this. Had you simply pondered it, or simply told me that you don't want to give out multi-tracks back in late summer 2016, I would have simply said, okay, understandable. But the water's only gotten bloodier now, and there's no purifying it.
This is the perfect example of something I like to call a parasocial conflict. I'm sure most of us at some point have internalized an incident or some drama and gossip with other individuals to the point of it feeling like it's worthy of being featured on primetime TV. Sometimes we like to pump it up in our heads so much that we make assumptions about how our perceived opponents feel about it. Yet, in reality, these opponents don't even know about your grudge.
I don't even know who you are.
The hard truth for Randy is that Andrew didn't give a shit, or at least as much of a shit as he thought. You're not Keemstar, Randy. You're not Mr. Beast. You're just a random, vindictive douchebag from Dallas, Pennsylvania who had self-esteem issues. The concluding months of Randy's life were mostly focused on his endeavours to finish documenting everything, uploading it to Mediafire and Dropbox, and rambling on in his car about his life and how he thought the world works. When talking about the music industry, Randy would use his experiences with SendRequest to lay claim to the idea that the entire music industry is fake. This is where the curtain call footage comes into play. He claimed most music and vocals are heavily edited using computer software such as Auto-Tune, and most musicians have no actual talent. This is what he considers to be a decisive factor in his hatred for modern day music. On the morning of June the 8th, 2017, Randy's life would violently and unceremoniously end alongside the lives of 3 of his innocent co-workers who had nothing to do with his delusions. While Randy's life was over, SendRequest's story still has many more chapters, some of which are unwritten to this day. Oh god, this video is going to be over an hour long, isn't it? In the immediate aftermath of the attack, SendRequest and their members remained silent, not so much as even mentioning Randy. Their thoughts and feelings were kept internalized, most likely because they felt this was the best way for them to deal with it. Andrew was hurt most by the events which transpired, so he decided to become a memester. On July the 30th, SendRequest would release a music video for Comeback Song, produced by another production company, Rise Optics and Unity Entertainment. So no, Randy didn't make this video, guys. Aside from this, they would only produce a Taylor Swift cover song and upload it on September the 8th. On the 12th of August, Andrew would get engaged to his girlfriend of 8 years. So 2017 was simultaneously the worst and best year of Andrew's life. At a glance, Andrew's relationship is one of pure, unbridled love, which so many romantics would envy. But that's just the surface. John Lubensky would follow in Andrew's footsteps the next year, but his relationship would unfortunately deteriorate. 2018 would be another significant year for the band, as they managed to accomplish a noteworthy feat. On the 14th of July, after half a decade, they would finally be signed to a record label, Sharptone Records. This isn't just some stupid self-made up Killer Clowns Records type bullshit either. This is a full-blown professional record label, founded in 2013 by Marcus Stager and Sean Keith. Sharptone is considered to be an offshoot of Nuclear Blast Records, with over 250,000 subscribers and countless bands signed with many more albums, all of which I don't know jack shit about, because I'm not really into this particular genre. In collaboration with Sharptone, Sandrequest released their latest album, Perspectives. This album is comprised of 10 songs, with a deeper meaning than Make Your Move and Beyond the Ordinary. They embraced both the positive and negative aspects of life, and how your mentality can shape what you see. One song in particular caught the ears of context-educated listeners, Antisocial War. This song is about an individual who lives a life of misery, who committed an unbelievable, unforgivable action, destroying the lives of those whom loved him in the name of a war between himself and society. It's Randy. The song is obviously about Randy. At first, I was thinking it's mere speculation on behalf of the audience, but then I found this.
Definitely a kickin' track, guys. I'm curious, what's the story or inspiration behind the track?
Oh, that's rough. So,
yeah, that's a long story.
It's a darker place. In a nutshell, there was a pretty tragic shooting in our local area, and the guy who committed it, he was pretty obsessed with our band and our lead singer.
Forget what Randy said about Derek. He's not a rag. Derek is an absolute legend. This song and this interview was the last time Sandrequest would ever come close to acknowledging Randy.
I am a firm believer in it doesn't matter, well, obviously, unless you know it's like murder or something like that.
I'm passionate about murdering people.
Antisocial War was a means for Andrew as a songwriter to send his parting message to Elf Boy. How he felt about Randy's actions, how he treated him, and asking why he felt so miserable all the time. 2018 could be considered the peak of Sandrequest's success, as Perspectives would be their final album, parting ways with Sharptone later on for unknown reasons. John and Aaron would leave the band in early 2020, replaced by Nick Cotillo and Tom Towner. Their final song was released in 2021 as part of Pacific Ridge Records' collaboration with smaller bands titled Tribute to a Newfound Glory. Yep. SR's final song was a cover song. Typical Andrew. As of today, Andrew Blank is a guitarist at So Much Hope Buried and the lead singer of Sandrequest. He also co-hosts a podcast with his friend and fellow straight male bandmate Eric Navrosky, titled Mixing Mindsets. I'll be honest, it's a really boring podcast. Being a typical circle jerk sound show, endemic to the internet these days.
Sometimes that like overwhelming positivity is really hard to attain and keep. So you sometimes have to force yourself into it.
Yeah.
It literally is like an exercise.
Huh. That explains why Randy felt such a forced vibe from him. Huh. Derek Holminski still plays guitar at Sandrequest. John Lubensky is a drummer in A Perfect Sky, and Aaron plays the bass guitar at Stay Loud. All are either engaged or married, bar John. Every story has an ending, one way or another. Once you draw your final breath, what matters most? Is it the wealth you accumulated? The luxury cars, yachts, mansions, high-tech gadgets, shares, businesses, private jets? Do you take pride in the change you implemented in society? Did you invent a technology, find a cure for a disease, and help end poverty and homelessness? Or did you start a positive movement and lead the government towards the path of change forever? When I reflect on this question, I think of the principles I hold dear. Was I able to garner good life principles and uphold them? Was I able to push the world even a fraction closer towards what I believe is best for humanity? Many cultures and intellectuals across the globe touch upon the idea of two deaths. First, the death of one's body, the natural death. Then, the final death, the death of one's memory. Mark Manson reflects upon this in his hit book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F***, using Ernest Becker's work, In Denial of Death. In reaction to the inevitability of our physical deaths, we attempt to build immortality projects which endure through the test of time. Every deed, positive or negative, significant or insignificant, can be attested to the desire to be remembered, the desire for an everlasting legacy. EGS was Randy's immortality project. Contrary to his claims, he was just as susceptible to the fear of death as everyone else. Like everybody else, he was afraid of being forgotten, a simple blip in the history of humanity. The biggest tragedy in the story of Randy Stair lies in his legacy. Not only in his project, but the destructive, selfish means he took to achieve it. The real tragedy lies not in Randy, but the lives he destroyed. Victoria, Brian, Terry, Sammy, Haley, TJ, Dave, Andrew, Derek, John, Aaron, their friends, their families, entire communities of innocent people. The biggest tragedy in the story of SendRequest is the impact Randy had on their legacy. Forever they will be known as the band whose music was used by a psychopath. Forever, songs like Comeback Song, My Last Confession, and any more will be tainted by the actions of a deranged killer. Forever, SendRequest's legacy will be bound to Randy Stair. In that way, Randy won. Part of me wishes I could vaporize Randy, wipe him clean from the history books, as if he never existed in the first place. But unlike Orwell, we live in the real world. The least I can do is tarnish his legacy. The least I can do is tell the truth. So yes, SendRequest might be a fake studio band. Yes, they might not be as talented as Queen, Pink Floyd, or the Beatles. Yes, Andrew Blake's voice might not be that good and it requires heavy editing and auto-tune. But by God, their music is good. So when I think SendRequest, I won't think about Randy or his f***ed up life decisions. I'll think of 4 teenagers who dreamt of taking the world by storm with their bombastic, meaningful music, written to empower and spread positivity.